my heat kicked on for the first time, I think. It's bad.
Dude, I got a fucking fire going and I regret everything.
I was gonna. Well, you're setting a nice romantic vibe. Is that what you're going for? Because that's what I'm feeling.
That's what I was going for, but
It's like our first date.
It is.
I mean, not really. It's like our 50th date if you really consider all the stuff that we did back in the day. But this is a good virtual date, you know? Where are you taking me out to dinner?
I still have butterflies.
What's on the docket? Where are we taking? Where are you going? Where are you taking me?
Dude, there's this really nice Italian place just down the road.
Okay.
It's called Chick-fil-A. It's
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
You take me there?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, I know it's a lot, and
My
I know
hero.
keeping us a table, but
I mean, Matt might be moving a little bit too fast for me, to tell you the truth.
didn't you just say it was our 50th date?
Don't judge me, okay? I might move slower than some people. What do you think I am, a slut?
I want you to be, but
I mean,
but I respect your pace, and I'll.
You take me to Chick-fil-A and get me one of those deluxe sandwiches. I might do something for you. You know what I mean?
A little bit of Chick-fil-A after.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh man, only fun times.
Yeah.
Fun times. So
what's been going on around the farm?
Dude, not a whole lot. It's cold as balls here. I don't know if you keep up with the temperature in Maine. It's like
Slightly. When I wonder what temperature it is, I check, but I don't.
Bro, it's like 18 degrees. My phone says it's 18 degrees right now, but if we actually look at what it feels like, so when I left work this morning, it felt like 4. It feels like 10. I don't know if it feels like 10. It's backwards, but it's right there. It feels like 10.
It feels like 29 here. I got a high of 58 and it's sunny.
So. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cold. It is freezing here. And my heat kicked on for the first time. And I thought my room was on fire like a couple minutes ago. I was like, man, it smells like something's burning. And I was like looking around my room. I'm like, fuck, I might have to run out this room real quick, but I'm good. I'm good for now, at least. I don't know if it's I'm still a little skeptical. I got my head on a swivel, making sure I'm not going to catch flames.
Yeah, see a little.
I don't want to alarm you. I don't want to alarm you, but I think there's a fire in your room.
Oh, no, I started that one. We're good.
As long as you knew.
Yeah.
Dude, that was like cartoonish the way you whipped around.
Well,
it's even better for people who listen on like Spotify because they're gonna have no idea what was so funny there. Yeah. They're gonna think we're just
we gotta do sound effects. Like when I turn around, there's gotta be like a whoop.
Whoop. Listen, I like editing, but not that level of excruciating editing where I have to sit through every like millisecond and be like, I gotta time this perfectly. Maybe in the future, maybe I'll hire an editor for us.
That'd be awesome. Down to like cool. Someone scratches their head and you put it in like a
yeah. Like have you ever seen those guys in movies? They're like Foley artists. Have you ever seen videos of people doing that for like movie sound effects where they take like bones breaking, they take lettuce and then they just shatter it?
Yeah.
We should hire our own Foley artist for our podcast.
I agree, and I think it would be more fun if we had them like in one of our rooms live trying to keep up with making sound effects.
So I can't turn my computer around because then I'll just unplug everything. But I'm on a desk against a wall, so the way I'm envisioning this was there'd be like a dude who's like on all fours, just kind of like hovering over the microphone out of frame, and is just like making little noises every time I do something. And I hope, of course, that he eventually would just slip and fall, and it would create an amazing visual because it would just be like it's like my Goofy example from last week. It'd be like that would be the perfect time to use it. Was if he's just like waiting for a sound, and I'm like, I have the button under my hand, and I'm like waiting, and I just click it, and he fucking crashes right down on top of the guy, takes us all out. It'd be worth it.
I think so for sure.
But so for the listeners, Seth and I are introducing a new little segment into Around the Farm, which is kind of our recaps of the weeks, but we're doing Song of the Week. So my Song of the Week this week is a song called Scott Street by Phoebe Bridgers. Have you ever heard of Phoebe Bridgers before?
I have, yeah.
I am in
For
love
some
with that
reason,
woman.
I just joined the audience for a second, and I like was almost went to look around to see if like anyone else had heard her. Like, I'm like, I know I haven't, but like I'll let someone else go if they have. I'm like, oh shit,
You
wait. I'm the
you
only
were
one.
not you were not the co-host for a second. You were an audience member, and then you're like, "Oh shit, I got a job to do."
No, I was local listener, Seth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's my song of the week. I love that girl's voice. She is a phenomenal musician,
yeah,
and
no,
that
she.
song is beautiful.
There's quite a few singer songwriters that I really like right now, and I haven't listened to as much of her as I have a few others, but
Mhm.
I like her a lot.
I would recommend checking out her 2017 album, "Stranger in the Alps." That album front to back is just phenomenal. I think with her, for me, her songwriting ability is she goes really personal. Like a lot of her songs don't make sense in terms of like excuse me, like the pop songs on the radio where it's
Yeah,
like, oh, you can just attribute like niche, but hers is like niche actual things that have happened to her, which I think is becoming less and less common in music today because a lot of there's a formula and like a cookie cutter of you got to write this lyric about heartbreak and this one about sadness and everybody can relate, but like there's a lyric of I think it's one of her songs called Motion Sickness where she's like it's about a specific person and she's been vocal about it's about this specific person and their relationship, which I think is really interesting to see from like a celebrity is they're like nope, this isn't up for debate, this is who it's about and this is like the lyrics and she explains some of the context, which I think is really kind of shitty for that guy, but he sounds like an ass anyway, to be honest.
if he doesn't like it, he can fucking write a great song about her. So
Exactly, which I think he was in a band, but that's my song of the week.
nice,
And if
nice.
you haven't heard that one, I'd recommend checking it out because that's probably it's just an acoustic soft song, and I've become so soft with my music taste, and that's kind of where I'm at right now is the soft acoustic guitar vocals about hating everything that I don't know love I guess really.
Fair enough, dude. I I'm similar in that I'm incredibly emotionally subjective with my music. Like I listen to a ridiculous range of stuff, and
Hmm.
what I'm listening to at the time completely depends on what I'm doing and how I'm feeling.
Yeah,
Like I have a million playlists for all kinds of different things.
I'm just getting to that point where I'm like I used to have one playlist where I would just dump all music into it. I had like I think there's like 3,000 songs in that playlist, and I used to just have it like that. And then I just one day it hit me. I was like, "What kind of psycho am I to have a playlist with like it ranged from old art like rap like Tupac and Biggie to like Ellie Goulding and then Maroon 5 and then like Killswitch Engage, which is like a metal band." And I'm like, "What the fuck am I doing, bro? Like my emotions are just all over the place."
I have a classic rock playlist that I made where I noticed that with my playlists, sometimes I would get tired of like listening to it and then hearing the same song over and over again.
Yep.
So I made a classic rock playlist where I every artist that I came across that I like, I added every song they have on Spotify.
Every single one.
Yes. So this playlist is 346 hours. You could listen
Oh
to it
my
for
god.
2 weeks straight and not hear a repeat.
That's insane. 346 hours?
It's fucking crazy.
Dude, that I was over here thinking I was whack with like a 40-hour playlist and you're like, "Nah, 346 hours."
I'm telling you, I'm a psychopath when it comes to playlists.
Yeah,
But
my
yeah,
longest playlist.
I have playlists like I have just a classic rock playlist. I have the big classic rock playlist. I have a classic rock playlist that's just upbeat stuff that's
Mhm.
happier. I have like a skiing playlist that's fucking insane stuff. I
Yep.
have like calmer. ones. I have a playlist of songs that I know all the words to, and only songs I know all the words to. Like, like
That's
I check.
actually I don't have that's a good idea.
Yeah, I have playlists for everything. So
So I one playlist that if you don't have I made for myself and I really like it is I have a playlist that's just called songs that remind me of blank. So I if I like hear a song within the first 5 seconds, if I go, I instantly think of like a specific place. Like for example, Rockstar by Post Malone, I instantly think of like 2017 UMF because I was obsessed with that song for like a month.
I remember.
And I think if you ask anybody from our friend group if they hear that song, I guarantee you that at least two or three of them are going to be like instantly think of me because I was obsessed with that song for like a month straight.
I
Still
think
love
of
that
you.
song to this day.
I think of you whenever I hear Post Malone at all.
See, I love that.
Yeah, because you're the person that made me find out about him because I didn't really know who he was,
Yeah.
and then I don't really know anyone else that listens to him the way you did.
Yep.
So, and obviously with the Jake Jalone name, it's kind of hard to fucking forget. But
Yeah, it is. That's true. Yeah, I still listen to Post Malone a lot. Not as much I think as I used to, but I still listen to him. He's in my playlist. Like he's in a lot of my playlists, even the ones that I've created for different vibes cuz he has the special ability to have his hard-hitting like hip hop songs like Rockstar, but he has a lot of acoustic songs. Like Feeling Whitney's a big one I love that I can add to an acoustic playlist and it makes sense because that's all it is.
dude, he did a great cover of my favorite artist, Sturgill Simpson.
Did
Like
he
a
really?
great, yeah. No, he did
Huh.
like a whole. He covered. Who else did he cover? He covered some other like early 2000s country guy. And
He
then he
covered
covered.
he covered Only Want to Be With You by Darius Rucker. I know that. Or was it Hootie and the
Um,
Blowfish? I don't know if it was Darius
no,
Rucker by himself.
no, it wasn't. It was.
That's a good cover though.
Oh, what's the name of the guy that's in the commercials with Peyton Manning, where Peyton Manning's trying to write songs?
Oh, Brad something, right?
Easily,
Yeah.
Brad Paisley. I think it
I
was a
almost
Brad
said
Paisley.
I almost said
Or
Dirks
no,
Bentley. Same thing.
the song was called "I'm Gonna Miss Her." I don't know why I thought it
You're
was.
talking to the wrong dude. Country and me are like foreign languages, dude. I don't get it.
Anyway, yes, Post Malone covers "You Can Have the Crown" by Sturgill Simpson, which is
Hmm.
like it's basically a song Sturgill Simpson wrote to make fun of country songs.
Okay, is he a
Like,
country artist by the way? I don't know anything about the Sturgill Simpson guy.
yeah, he's like
Okay.
he's a little all over the map. He kind of started out with like really fast, like picking country, and
Okay.
then kind of went a little more produced.
Yep.
Then went like super trippy country. Then came
Like
all the way
psychedelic almost.
yeah.
Okay.
Like the album is called Meta Modern Sounds of Country Music.
Interesting.
Um and then he like did a complete 180 and did a rock album that he made an anime to. So then
What?
yeah, and it's fucking awesome. And
I
then
I respect the vision of this guy just by the
yeah.
sounds of it. And
So then he made two albums that are bluegrass versions of all these other songs, like some of the anime rock songs and then the older
mhm.
songs. He made bluegrass versions of all of them. And then he made a just straight kind of bluegrass album, but the whole album is like a story of it's called Dude and Juanita. And
I have
it's
to check this guy out.
yeah.
I've been
So
meaning to ever since you mentioned him, but I just haven't done it.
yeah, no, he's got some range. So I bet you just about anybody could find a song he's done that they like. Just
Yeah.
because he's done so much different stuff.
Yeah, he sounds like a really versatile artist, and I always appreciate that aspect of musicians when they're not stuck into one specific like genre and piece.
Yeah.
Like I used to think Taylor Swift was like the kind of artist that was very stuck in place, but after actually listening to some of her stuff, I take back everything I said because she did like a folk album, which I honestly think was one of my favorite albums I've heard in the last like I don't know 5-10 years. It was really well done. I was impressed.
Yeah. Was it that Folklore, was that the
Oh
album?
yeah, such a good album.
It was good.
Yeah, I had people from work that were talking to me about it, and they were like, "Oh, you got to listen to Folklore." I was like, "Fuck it, like I'll do it, whatever." I'm thinking I'm gonna go into it, and not gonna like it because I've not really. My sister's huge Taylor Swift fan, has been since I was a kid. So I've
Yeah.
always just kind of grew up hating Taylor Swift because my sister loved her. So it's like sibling rivalries, you know what I mean? And I listened to it, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." This is exactly the kind of music I was looking for, and the fact that an artist like Taylor Swift decided to make an album like that was cool. I was really taken aback. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah, I remember my girlfriend at the time, that night, we knew it was coming out at midnight.
Yep.
She was like, "We have to stay up to listen to it." And I was like, "Fine. Like
Fuck.
whatever. That's all right." And then we started listening to it, and there were a few songs I was actually like,
Yeah,
interesting."
that's how I was. I remember I was at work when I listened to it, and I was talking to my coworker, and I was like, "I did not expect to like this album this much, and I kind of hate that I love it as much as I do."
I
Not
know. Dude,
really.
that's how I
At
felt.
the
I was like, I
Yeah,
feel like weird liking this. I feel like I'm not supposed to, but
right.
it's
But then I
good.
was like, I just appreciated it for what it was, and I was like, "It was a great album. It was a phenomenal listen, and Taylor did a great job with that album."
Yeah, no, I in recent years have kind of gotten to the point where I have stopped caring about public opinion when I decide what I like, and
Me
I've
too.
stopped caring about public opinion when I hear what other people like.
That's
Because
why
I
I got rid
used
of
to be
Twitter.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely a horrible place for judgment on anything at all. But
I remember I had a there was an album that had come out from an artist I liked at the time, probably like 2018, and X Men was probably 2019. That's when I got off Twitter, and I listened to it before I got on Twitter, and I was like, "All right, this is pretty good." And everybody on Twitter hated it. Like the majority of people hated it, and they were clowning every. So then I was like, "Oh, I kind of hate this." And then I thought
that's
about it, and I was like, "How fucking stupid is it to say to change my opinion to fit in with like the normal crowd on a social media app of people I'm never gonna meet?"
yeah.
And I was like, Twitter is a terrible fucking place. So then I think I logged off Twitter, deleted my Twitter app on my phone, and I haven't been back on since. And I do not miss it, especially now. I do not miss it.
I pretty much just have it exclusively for sports news,
Yeah.
just
See, I
because
use Reddit for that.
that's just where all the news is dropped immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Yeah.
have key people that I have with notifications on,
Yeah.
and then a few others that I just kind of will scroll through and see what is getting talked about. But
Yeah.
I can't handle the other side of it. Like sometimes it'll recommend tweets like we think you'd like this, and it's just this crazy political thread that's a mile long, and I'm like, wow.
You hate Mexican people, right? And it's like, no, I don't. It's like, are you sure? Because
They
you
just put
seem like you'd love this account.
they just put just put like a poll like you hate Mexican people, yes, a little bit, and then that's the options.
No, it just says Mexican question mark, and it just says yes, no, and it just says very much no.
Oh my
And then the final option just absolutely not.
god.
Like you're scrolling, you're like, what? That was weird. And then you
I
just go
think
to another poll, and it's like, should we injure Mexicans? And it's like, what's going on here, man? It's like
Twitter's like
I don't agree with this.
Twitter's like we really think you'd like this page.
Twitter, we with Twitter here think that you're racist. Whether you think you are or not, we think you're racist. It's like Twitter, I'm not.
Oh my god. Yeah, I think a while ago that account wouldn't have lasted long, but these days, who fucking knows? Twitter's the wild
I
west
see
right now.
headlines. Well, so did you hear about the whole scandal that happened with the company that is like the mass producer of insulin? What
No.
happened because of Twitter? So Elon, when he bought Twitter, he made a program for people who could pay $8 a month. They'd get verified. So verified
Yep.
people on Twitter, you had to be like a celebrity, like a politician, a brand, but you could pay $8. So you and me could have gone on Twitter and had a verified account in a minute. So somebody made an account. I don't remember. Let me look up the name of the insulin brand because I don't want to get it wrong. And so
Yep.
anyway, they made a Twitter account that was a fake account of this brand, but they had marketed it like it was real. They had just changed, like it was Eli Lilly. They make like a bunch of insulin. Like they're like one of the world's leaders in insulin production.
Yeah.
So somebody made an account of like Eli Lilly and said, as of today, insulin's free. They lost billions of dollars in the stock market, like billions.
Are you
I
sure?
can't. No, it was a huge deal. I don't
Oh,
remember. I think I don't want to say a number and get it wrong, but I think it was like over. It was like double-digit billions of dollars in a day.
that is
Because, and to be fair, I don't feel bad for them because insulin should be free. The fact that people have to pay like hundreds of dollars for insulin for something that they literally need to survive is ridiculous to me. So I don't feel bad at all for them losing a bunch of money, but they lost like like billions of dollars off of a fucking tweet that somebody paid $8 for.
that's kind of hilarious.
It is. I'd feel more bad about it if it was if it was like a brand that I actually liked, but like I don't feel bad for Eli Lilly at all.
Well, there's still some danger in it if they produce a ton of insulin and crash, and then it creates a problem for people that need insulin. That could be bad.
True.
But like the tragedy of it aside, that's kind of fucking hilarious that was able to happen.
And I remember somebody else made a Twitter. They had a verified George H.W. Bush account, and it just said like, "Boy, I really miss killing Iraqis." And yeah, it's right here. It says it was George W. Bush's, and it had a little check mark, and it says, "I miss killing Iraqis" with a sad emoji. And then somebody made a fake Tony Blair account. I don't know who Tony Blair is, but probably a politician. And they just had him retweet it and said, "Same TBH."
We're probably dating ourselves not knowing who Tony Blair is.
Oh, a former UK Prime Minister. Sorry, listeners. If anybody screamed at this and was like, "You don't fucking know who Tony Blair is," I do now. Okay, I do now.
Tony Blair sounds like a fucking WWE wrestler from the 90s.
He does too. He actually main evented WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But to be fair, if anybody got offended or upset that I didn't know who Tony Blair was, I willingly admitted on the last week's episode that I only got 6 presidents out of the 50 that we've had in this country. So the fact that they'd expect me to know other countries' fucking leaders is ridiculous. And that's an impossible ask.
Yeah. We know the big ones, obviously. Like North Korea has Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, Dennis Rodman. And what's her name over in the UK? Shelly.
Shelly.
I don't know. I couldn't think of anything on the side.
Shelly. I got you. I forgot about Shelly. Yeah.
I think it was your pause. Just Shelly.
I was expecting a pun or a joke of some kind.
I was trying to think of one, and I just couldn't. It was my mind just went blank.
Here's Shelly.
Shelly.
It's like I don't know. Am I just a dumbass and I'm missing this joke in front of me, or what?
So the reason why I couldn't think of anything was I typed Twitter blue fake tweet, and I saw another one that somebody had made a Twitter account at the real OJ32 and said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I did that shit." So it was a disaster. I mean, he didn't. Yeah, OJ came out with a book and said, "If I did it."
Dude,
bruh,
that's the fucking craziest thing to happen ever.
That's like me going to, like, when I was a kid, right? My mom's like, "All right, so who ate the cookie dough out of the fridge?" And I'm like, "Ma, I have hand sticky full of chocolate chip residue." I'm like, "Ma, if I did it."
Here's how I would have done it. But
here's how I would have done it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
That's like the same thing. Like, I don't know if there's people out there that genuinely believe OJ that he didn't do it. Other than OJ himself. I don't even think OJ himself believes he didn't do it.
Well, yeah, but that's because he didn't do it.
Yeah, he didn't.
We know how he would have done it if he did it, but he didn't do it.
He probably would have done it, but he didn't.
Exactly.
So we got to stop. You know what? That's the message we're going to send out for this podcast. Stop convincing people that OJ did it, because he didn't. Not only is Richard Nixon innocent, O.J. Simpson is as well.
I just want to be able to buy a white Ford Bronco again, man. That's all I want.
I think you should. You should actually. I think they kept the old one, like the one that OJ actually drove.
No shit.
We should go halvesies on that.
It's clearly got great gas mileage. So
Great gas mileage and a whole shitload of trauma in the backseat of that car.
what do you mean he didn't do it?
That's. I think I froze. I think OJ is misunderstood.
Yeah, he's definitely misunderstood. Have you fucking seen his Twitter?
Oh, I
He's
haven't.
like, where he's like, "Hello, Twitter world, it's me, OJ," and he's like,
I didn't do it.
dude, it's fucking crazy the way he talks and jokes about stuff. Like fucking nothing ever happened. Like what the fuck?
Listen, if you have to repeatedly tell people you didn't do something, there's a high chance that you did whatever it is you're claiming you didn't do.
No, come on.
No. Mom, for the last time, I did not have sex with that feline, okay?
I hate that OJ did that because the Naked Gun is so funny that I just want to.
Is that with Leslie Nelson?
Attached, yes.
Yeah.
And OJ Simpson's the guy that gets shot in the beginning.
I mean, fitting.
Have you ever? Yeah, karma.
No, I've never seen it. I've heard of it. I've never seen it though.
One of the greatest. I guess it's not a death scene because he doesn't die, but it's the greatest. Like
spoiler, you dick.
It's. Yeah, I mean, it's been out
Come on.
quite a fucking while.
I don't care.
We spoiled Marvel last week.
We spoiled Black Panther last, or what was it? Not Black Panther. It was Infinity War.
Yeah, if we've spoiled that last week, I think fucking Naked Gun is on the table.
I just know there's like one movie person, like aficionado, it's like sitting there. It's like, damn it, I was gonna watch that movie.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
I got bullied at work today. I had never heard of A League of Their Own with Tom Hanks. Never heard of it.
I mean,
so you have obviously.
You're a baseball fan, so I don't really know how.
I never even knew it existed until like 6 hours ago.
Are you a movie person?
No.
So then, yeah, if you're not a movie person, it's not like a.
Honestly, the only baseball movies I've seen, and this is gonna hurt coming from me to you, and I'm sorry in advance, but I've seen the Benchwarmers, of course, Moneyball, of course,
classic,
and The Sandlot. I have never seen Major League, or the other one in the 80s or 90s that was really popular.
A glaring missing spot on that list.
What is it?
Absolutely glaring.
What am I missing? I can't think what it's called.
Field of Dreams.
Oh, I've seen that. It's been a long time though.
I was gonna say, dude.
Yeah,
if you've
I
never
had seen that.
Field of Dreams. What have you been doing?
I think the big one that people always get confused about is Major League. That's a big one.
I mean, anything with Charlie Sheen is gold.
And then the other one that's like the kid that plays baseball. Is that the same movie?
The kid that plays baseball?
Yeah, the little kid that plays for the Cubs, like Henry. I even know his name. What movie is that?
Are you talking about like the Rookie of the Year movie?
Yes, that one. The little kid that plays for the Cubs because he can throw 100 miles an hour or whatever.
Yeah, because he breaks his arm and it like becomes rubber, so you can freaking. Then,
is that the premise of that fucking movie?
Yes, it is.
That's so stupid. That's why I've never fucking seen it. That's dumb.
Yeah, no, I'm surprised that you even know about that one because.
I think that has a cult, it's like a cult following in the baseball world because I hear about it a lot, like on baseball, like Reddit and stuff like that.
It's all right.
I'm not gonna watch it, knowing that that's the reason that he's able to play baseball is because he has a rubber arm. That's stupid.
Yeah. No,
was he Stretch Armstrong?
Pretty much. Like I've maybe watched it once or twice.
What's your favorite baseball movie?
That's probably gonna have to be Field of Dreams.
That's a good choice.
But it's a cliche choice, but I think it's cliche for a reason. Like it's just good.
All cliches are cliched for a reason. I mean, they wouldn't be cliches if they weren't popular.
Exactly. Anything anything Ray Liotta touches, I absolutely love.
Yeah.
He has a small role in that, but a great role. So
Isn't Kevin Costner the lead actor in that movie?
yeah,
Yeah.
Kevin Costner. There's James Earl Jones, who's
I love James Earl Jones.
absolutely incredible in that movie.
He's still alive. I thought he died like 10 years ago.
He's one of those where like you don't hear anything at all about him,
Yeah.
like just out in the world. Like is
I
he
think it's
still?
because I
Well,
confused him with Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
they
Which,
do sound alike.
well, I think it's just because they're like bigger black bald men, really, is what it is. And they're both in prominent roles because you have James Earl Jones, obviously, as Darth Vader, but he's been in other things. I was watching that '70s show, and Uncle Phil cannot for the life of you remember what his actual name is, his actor name.
Did he die recently?
Yeah, that's what I was saying because I confused James Earl Jones with him because I thought that James Earl Jones was the guy named Uncle Phil. James Avery, that was his name.
Yeah,
He died in 2013. See, that's what I'm saying. I thought James Earl Jones died 10 years ago. I was thinking of James Avery.
I like that. I said, didn't he die recently? And that's like almost half of my life ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's recently enough. I still consider the Red Sox 2013 World Series to be recent, and that's really not. It's almost 10 years ago.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, it's recent. As far as our lives go, it's not recent.
Yeah, it is recent enough. But I was watching that '70s show, and James Avery was a character, and I thought it was James Earl Jones. And I was like, I don't think that's James Earl Jones. And then I convinced myself, I like gaslit myself into it. I was like, no, that's James Earl Jones. I'm misremembering what he looks like. So I looked it up. I was wrong.
Nice. And he is still alive?
James Avery or James Earl Jones?
James Earl Jones. We just
Yeah,
talked about
he's still alive. I thought he was dead. Watch him
it.
die today. I'm gonna feel really.
Can you imagine? We
Yeah,
have to release
he's 91.
we have to release the pod with a little like just so you know, James
We
Earl
did it.
Jones is alive at the time of this recording.
We had nothing to do with the murder of James Earl Jones.
But if we did, here's what we would have done. Here's how we would have killed him.
If we did it. If we did it.
But we didn't do it.
If we did it by the Fun Farm podcast. Then like we have in like quotations just says, but we didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Like in
bold.
even smaller print, we have, but if we did.
Yeah. Ugh.
I am hoping that James Earl Jones does not die within the next couple days. Like I am really hoping that this guy stays alive because this would be really hard to explain to anybody.
Yeah. The coincidence would be outrageous.
Yeah, me and Seth were talking about like if we killed James Earl Jones and he got killed by a crazy fan out in LA and it wasn't us.
Yeah. Oh my god. At least we're like time stamping ourselves being somewhere. So unless he lives in Denver, he definitely does not live in Maine.
Yeah, you got a point.
Yeah.
Ah, if we did it.
So my song of the week to rein us back in a little bit.
Good idea. Before we
is,
get criminal press charges against us.
I'm gonna pull an unsurprising pick to anyone that knows me.
Okay.
For my first ever song of the week, gotta go Eagles.
Fair enough.
But I'm gonna dig into the like deeper area a little bit. They have an album called Live at the Forum, which is after Glenn Frey died, who was one of the two like lead singers and one of the leaders of the band.
Mm-hmm.
So then after he died, they did a tour where they replaced him with his son and Vince Gill, who's like a country legend, like a Hall of Famer. So that whole album is awesome because it's like it went from they're the Eagles and this is their big like they do what they do to all right, we're just here to have fun. We're doing this for everyone else now because like they can't do what they used to do, but they have great replacements, and it's really cool for Deacon Fry is his son's name. Um, it's cool to hear him talking about like, yeah, I remember like coming to the forum to watch basketball games with my dad, and like now I'm gonna sing a song he used to sing.
That's
It's
pretty
fun.
cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Um, so the song I'm going with is it's called How Long. It is a song where
I thought you were gonna say it's called Hotel California, like no one's ever heard it before, and I was like, dude, that's like one of the most famous songs ever.
no, you don't understand.
You don't know it. You don't know it.
It's a deep cut.
It's a pretty niche record. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever heard about it.
I will say on this album for that song, they do a trumpet intro to it where like everything else is quiet. It's just a trumpet like cutting through the silence. And then after the trumpet solo, they break into Hotel California. It's really cool.
That sounds cool.
But How Long is one of the few songs that they have where Don Henley and Glenn Fry both have verses that they sing. Because most of their songs is just one guy singing and then some harmonies. But this one, they both go. So then in this live concert, it's Don Henley singing it with Glenn Fry's son.
Oh wow,
So it's a cool little moment.
that
So
sounds awesome.
that's my song of the week.
That's a good pick for song of the week. So next week, what we'll do, because on this software, I'm actually able to take like 30-second snippets and play them for us to hear, and it will actually get edited into the final broadcast when we publish it. So next week, when you think of a song of the week, just send me like the 30 seconds that you want me to play. I won't listen to it beforehand, other than to get the actual section, so that way we can play our songs for each other.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be
That'd be so the listeners can also hear what we're talking about, so they don't have to go look it up for themselves. Because I think it'd be a little cool integration. So
yeah.
it's like, oh,
And
this
then
is my song.
you get a taste of if you want to go dig into it deeper.
Exactly, because the whole goal for a song of the week is kind of introducing old and newer artists and bands, and maybe getting a listener or you and I to be like, oh wow, that's really cool. You know, because half the music that you listen to, I'm sure I've never heard of half of them. I mean, your favorite artist, I don't even know. Never heard the guy's name until you started mentioning him to me.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of cool for me, because I'm very much into the discovering new music. I love it, and
Yeah.
even if it's stuff that I think I'm gonna hate, like I still would give it. I still try to give everything a chance, even like country music. As much as it pains me sometimes, I still try to give it a chance.
So what do you hate about country music?
I don't know. It's just, it really is just the whole vibe, and I hate saying that, but it's just
But
it's the
there's so many
subject.
different vibes.
Well, I guess I'm talking mainstream country music,
Yeah, see
like
that's tough.
your Luke Combs, your Brad Paisleys, your
Luke
uh,
Bryan.
Luke
Yeah.
Bryan's. It's the I don't like the instrumental sounds, because it's all just very like, I just say hey, like a farm. I don't like the accents that they have on, like they're like those particular group of artists, not them
Well,
specifically, but like that level of what I've heard. And I just don't care for it. I don't know what it is. It's just off-putting to me.
I'll tell you what it is. It's that a lot of those guys have a team that just write their songs,
Yeah.
and their entire goal is what's catchy, what's going to get radio time. And that system has just created this fucking vacuum of all of the radio time goes to all of the songs that sound exactly alike, and
Yeah.
just people keep listening to it. But there are people that are not doing that, that
Yeah.
are really, really good.
I
And I
bet
think
there are.
I've noticed over because I got into that type of music like in high school, like when I really got into it. And as I've found people, I've been able to see like a growth of appreciation for those kinds of artists. So I think
Yeah.
people are catching on, and there's some that are getting a little more playtime.
Yeah.
Like Chris Stapleton's one where he is really, really big right now.
Mhm.
And he has maybe a few songs that could fall into that, like they maybe sound a little poppy, but his whole story is he was a songwriter for a lot of those other guys. Like if you look at his list of songs that he helped write, it's ridiculous. Like there's so many country songs that were on the radio that like he just wrote for other people. And then at a certain point, he was like, "What am I doing? Like, I could do this on my own way better than these guys are doing it."
Right.
Then he went, and he's already an incredible songwriter. He's got a ridiculous voice, and he plays guitar well. So if you really listen to some of his stuff, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I'll have to give it a try. I just every time I'm like, yeah, I'll try it, I just end up hating it, and I am not because it's bad music, because I hate the group of people that's like country's fucking ass, it's awful, it sucks. No, I just don't. It does not bode well with me specifically in my taste in music, but doesn't mean it's bad. I mean, I have a lot of respect for country artists and the music that they make, and they're very talented. Like Carrie Underwood is an extremely talented woman. Can't stand her music. And same with like the Luke Bryans of the world, extremely talented people. And it's not for me. But I mean, I listen to like fucking rap, dude, and some like really obnoxious underground stuff that I think 9 out of 10 people would hate. So I understand liking a. And country's not a niche artist or a niche genre, especially where I'm from. I mean, half the people that come to the waterfront concerts this way are all country artists.
Yeah.
So I understand what it's like though for people who hate country, because like I get it, because I'm that person, but I also can relate it to being like I enjoy an under not underloved, but a genre of music that is not for everybody.
Yeah. But the other problem with it is when you have those guys that get a ton of radio time, those are the only songs that a lot of people hear.
Mm-hmm.
And then that means that when the produced country playlists go up on Spotify,
Yep.
which is where you would think to start your starting to listen to country journey,
Yeah.
all you're getting is the same stuff. Like it's hard to find where to break in.
It's like that with any genre. Same thing with I could say the same thing for rap though. I
Yeah.
mean the rap that like my grandmother has heard isn't the stuff that I would show people that I'm like, this is the talent. Like Kendrick Lamar doesn't get a lot of radio play. You're hearing songs from other artists that are TikTok songs that aren't songs I would say this is what shows the best in what rap has to offer.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's like that with country too. And that's part of me also being just kind of not naive but ignorant to that genre of music, to like, oh, but I'm fully well aware that there's definitely country music out there that I like, that I would like. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting
Especially
there because I'm getting into like the indie folk rock side of, which is really kind of intertwined with the genre of country, I feel like.
I already know the person I'm going to play next week, and I
Okay.
just got to find a good song.
All
But
right.
I think next week for our songs of the week, we should try to pick songs that prove our point right now. You should pick a rap song that you think I'd appreciate, and I should
Okay.
pick a more deep country like folk album that I think you would like.
Okay. It's tough with rap only because I think some of the best songs is the stories that they tell. So a 30-second snippet's tough, but I can still pick one and I can explain why I think it's a good song, even from a 30-second snippet.
I'll have to do the same thing because
Yeah.
my song is going to have the same problem.
Okay. Yeah. Even better.
Yeah. So perfect.
But I
That's
think
week.
absolutely. So how's work going for you? How's the you haven't gone to the ER yet, I see.
No, I was in there the other day.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they want something done in there.
Oh, fuck you, man. I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like, I feel like that's something that you would have mentioned in the past. Like, I got the nail in my head.
Yeah, no, last week's pod was a prophecy. I fucking had a problem and fucking walked right over.
Well, if that's like a curse we have on this podcast, like every single week when we talk about something, it just like happens. Like
Last
we
week,
don't know, but we talk about so much stuff, we have no idea where it's going to be.
this week it's definitely James Earl Jones. There's no
I-
chance it's not.
I am hoping I don't want him to die. He's 91. He's lived a long enough life though that I wouldn't be like, oh no. It's like, oh, that sucks.
No, it would be a sad for the loss death. It wouldn't be a like, oh my god, how did this happen? Sadness.
Yeah. But I also
We would be in trouble for sure.
if he could hold on till like next Monday, I think I'd be okay. I think I'd be all right.
I agree.
So we record these on, for people listening, we record these on like either Saturday or Sunday. So we're recording this on Sunday, December 11th right now. So if he dies before Tuesday, the 13th it will be. It wasn't us. Okay?
Wasn't it?
Wasn't
We know
us.
we know how we would do it, but we didn't do it.
Yeah, it wasn't us. But if we did do it, we'd probably do it this way. I'd probably interview OJ. Do you think there's like a club, like an AA meeting for like people who have been publicly convicted of crimes, and they're like, we didn't do it, wink. Like OJ and like Bill Clinton and like Hillary Clinton probably is there too.
Yeah, probably. And then you get somebody honorable like Richard Nixon to kind of coach them through how to be good people.
I'm so sick and tired of people trashing his name.
Honestly,
So sick and tired of it.
he
Like we
needs
touched
to
on that
be
last week, but
he needs to be in the support group for people that were convicted of something publicly that they definitely didn't do.
no.
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous to me, and it's really just a shame. It's a stain on this country
Yeah.
that he was publicly humiliated the way that he was and forced to exit office for something that he had no hand in. And there's no evidence supporting that whatsoever.
Yeah. So
And if you think there is, it was doctored.
exactly. So to all our listeners, shout out Dick Nixon. Go to our Instagram page to support the foundation.
Please.
Yep.
Nixon is innocent, forever will be, forever has been. And fuck Bill Clinton.
Couldn't have said it better.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So you want to move into our hypothetical questions today?
No, I still have some around the farm that I got to get to.
Shit. Well, I'm going to redact that like we're president in office.
Yeah, exactly.
Not Richard Nixon, though.
Nope. Fucking
Probably
clean as hell, dude.
Probably Bill Clinton.
So, have you seen this AI thing going around where you can either put in a picture of someone or type words in and
Yeah.
it like creates this whole image based on what you put in?
Yeah.
So, someone was showing me that at work, and because of you last week, I had George Lopez on the brain. So, I put in George Lopez making eggs, and it created the craziest picture that I've ever seen of George Lopez. I got to find this thing for you. So what I did is I printed it out and put it on our wall in our job trailer. And
that was that picture that you sent me that?
Yes.
That was AI created? That looks real.
Yep. I know. That was George
Wow.
Lopez making eggs in the AI drawing simulator. And that's what it gave me. So
what kind
I
of eggs do you think he was making? Like scrambled over easy?
I don't know, but they look like fucking ostrich eggs. The things are this big around.
They're T-Rex eggs from or Velociraptor eggs from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, they're this big around, and the yolks are like this big around. Like there's barely any egg white. It's just all fucking yolk.
That can't taste very good.
No, I wouldn't imagine so. So I printed that picture off, full like sheet of paper length, and put it on the wall above my coworker's desk, and didn't say a word about it. So for about 3 days, it didn't get talked about. And then at one point, he just goes, "Hey," and I was like, "What?" He's like, "What the fuck is this?" I looked at it, and dude, I should have got an Oscar. I looked at it and busted out laughing like it was the first time I'd seen it. And I was like, "That is awesome. Did you put that up?" And he's like, "No. Did you?" And I was like, "I've never seen that before in my life."
You're the fucking worst.
I was fucking bummed. So he's going to be gone on Monday, so I'm printing another one and putting it up.
You're going to do like George Lopez cooking an omelet.
Dude, they should all be George Lopez doing different things.
Like different egg-related things. Like George Lopez cooking an omelet. George Lopez like fucking a chicken.
Dude, yeah, that would be great to throw up in the old office.
What's the worst that could happen?
I don't know, because I didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
If
you did...
I just to clarify, I didn't do that. I'm just telling you how it would have gone if I did do it.
I love that I already know exactly the title of this podcast. It's just going to be in quotes, "if we did it."
Fucking love it, dude.
Because there's nothing else that's going to describe this episode better than just that phrase.
I think so. But yeah, so no, I'm excited for the to see how this progresses because
I'm also rather guilty of doing the exact same thing, of acting like I didn't do something when I did do it.
it's just so fun.
And at work, it's so fun
Yeah.
because, so especially I have this coworker, and I'll get like, I'll find people on like Facebook, right? Or like on like online. I'll just Google like random like grandfathers, and I'll copy the picture and I'll send it to him on Messenger. And he's like, "What the fuck, man?" And I'm like, "Oh, my phone broke." And he's like, "Yeah, right." And I was like, "No, my phone's all glitched out." And he's like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I swear, dude, my phone's all glitched out. I'm sending people weird stuff." He's like, "Oh, okay. I'll wait like a couple days and I'll go back and I'll like heart react it or send another one." And he's like, "What the fuck, dude?" And I was like, "Oh man, I don't know what's going on."
So he's
And
gonna mind his own.
he'll believe me. So I
That is
found this picture of like this kid on like it was on Reddit or something like that, and I sent it to him. He's like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Oh, that was meant for my." I think I was like, "Oh, that was my that's my mom's son. Sorry, I was trying to send that to him." And he's like, "Oh, it's okay." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm talking like my mom's son would be my brother. You fuck." Like I was like, "Oh, sorry, that's my mom's son. I was trying to send it to him." He's like, "Oh, it's all good, man." I was
yeah,
like,
I don't like him, so I call him my mom's son, not my brother.
but I was expecting like one of those messages where it like, wait, he's like, "Wait a minute," but never happened. Never
It,
happened.
did I love when you're able to do stuff like that? It just makes
It's
life so much fun.
It's so fun. I was pissing off this girl I work with yesterday because she sent me this Snapchat. We were both worked together. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. She sent me this Snapchat. I sent like 6 question marks back. And she comes over. She's like, "What were you saying question marks to my message to?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You just sent question marks to this picture I sent you." And I was like, "Me?" She's like, "Yes, you." And I was like, "I didn't send you question marks." She's like, "Don't fucking do this to me." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "I'm just as confused as the question marks that you're sending." She's like, "I didn't fucking send them." And I was like, "Yeah, you did." I'm bad like that, dude. It's just too much fun. Like
Yeah.
acting confused. I love sending people random pictures and then saying, "Why'd you send this to me?" Like I kept doing that to a girl I used to hang out with. I'd like send her a picture of like me as a kid, and I'm like, "Why'd you send this to me?" And she's like, "What?" And I was like, "Why the fuck did you send this to me?" I was like, "Who is this?" She's like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Why'd you send it to me then?"
I like doing the same thing except with calling people, where I'll call people and I'll be like, "You called me," and be
Ah,
like,
see, I can't do that.
oh yeah, I'll be like, so what's going on? What do you need to talk about?" And they're like, "You called me," and I'm like, "I did not call you. I have no reason to call you. What do you mean?"
Dude, I have such a bad story that's similar to that. So I remember my junior year of college, I was at this like kind of like a party with a bunch of like friends of mine. And we were playing this game that was like it was like beer pong, but every cup had a little card underneath it.
Yeah.
And it was like a dare or like a truth really. So
Uh,
I got if you got the cup on that side, then the person you'd pick a player and then they would do whatever it said. So I got the unfortunate card that was like text one of your exes and just don't respond when they say anything. So I was
oh
like, ah.
no.
So I was like, okay. So I fucking texted. It was text three exes actually. So I only had two that I was comfortable doing. Like I was like, oh, I can do two. So I texted one of them, and I was like, oh my good golly goodness, it hurts so bad. And and that was all I said. All I said.
And
And
that's one of the
I put my
they,
phone
they
down.
they could absolutely interpret that in a million
Yeah,
different ways.
not a good choice of words because of what
No,
comes next. So
there's so
I
many
put my
different
phone
ways.
down because we're playing the game. So I like going back. I come back. I had like fucking 6 text messages, like 4 missed calls. And she was like, "Jake, are you okay?" She's like, question mark, Jack, question mark. She's like, "I'm worried." She's like, "Please pick up." She's like, "Should I call?" She's like, "Should I call you an ambulance?" So I had to fucking explain to this girl who I kind of fucked her over to be fully transparent. And like she had a crush on me, and I was like, no. And I think at this point she was still kind of like into me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I was playing a game with some buddies, and I had to text an ex, and you were the unfortunate one that I still had the number for. And she was like, hope you're okay. Or she's like, glad you're okay. Hope you're doing well. I just left her on red. I was
Oh
like, dude, what am
no.
I supposed to say, man? Like, come
Oh
on. Like,
no. I
what am I
mean,
supposed? And then she texted me on Christmas. She's like, Merry Christmas. I did respond. And
you
then
did
she blocked
or
me on.
did.
I did. I did. No, I did.
Nice.
And then she blocked me on everything like a month later. So
That happens.
it hurt. Oh my good golly goodness, it hurt so bad.
Fucking send her an email telling her that.
I mean, I don't. That was not the correct choice of words, but
Maybe
in my
so.
mind, it was the funniest thing for the group of people I was with. That I was like, this will get a laugh.
1,000,000% in
Then
the
I had to
moment.
go. Then I had to like go to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, I gotta call this girl back and tell her I'm fucking not dead. Not to call the cops and send somebody to come find me.
Oh my, you shouldn't. You broke the rules.
I mean, what are you gonna do?
I don't know. All right, so do we want to do news story and then hypotheticals?
Sure.
Okay.
So you went first with the news story last week, so I'll go first this week. How's that sound fair?
I love it.
I gotta pull mine up. Mine's a little bit older. So my when we originally talked this, I wanted to do like this past week. Not enough stuff happens, I think, that's funny enough, and I just wanted to find the funniest story. So I actually got this news story to my phone because I had a picture of my phone screenshotted of like this headline because I was like, what the fuck? So the original headline was one monkey still missing after a trailer of 100 monkeys crashes in Pennsylvania. But I have a good conclusion to the story. The headline now, this was January 22nd of this year. All monkeys were accounted for after trailer crashes in Pennsylvania. A
Nice.
collision between a dump truck and a trailer carrying about 100 monkeys on Friday scattered crates of live animals across the road in Montour County, Pennsylvania, and prompted a search for a small number of monkeys. And then, thankfully, the Pennsylvania State Police tweeted, all monkeys have been accounted for. Imagine just seeing that tweet, not knowing what's happening, and just saying, all monkeys have been accounted for.
Especially
like, I would be confused.
Not knowing what they're talking about and knowing the reputation that police departments have. I feel like that could be a massive problem.
And then my favorite line of this article just says, police initially tweeted. I love how Twitter was their resource here. Like, this is how the information was getting communicated to the public. Police initially tweeted, a small number of monkeys may have fled the crash scene in the surrounding area. Bro, you know those monkeys were high off their ass. Like, oh, fuck, dude, we're going to get busted.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking narcs, we got to go. Also, isn't that how Planet of the Apes started? Like that movie when all the apes take over because they're smart. Wasn't it like it crashed on a highway and then like they all started killing humans and like took them over because they were more intelligent?
I actually have no idea.
I'm pretty sure that's how that movie started. So we honestly dodged a bullet. We just got monkeys that were tripping balls and they were going to blow over a .08. But
thank God, dude. I got worried.
you know those monkeys are like in the woods. They're like licking pine. They're like, all right, I think our breaths sound good. That's exactly what I thought. I read that. I remember I was like at work and I just looked at my phone. It was like CNN and I was like, what the fuck? What article? Like, what is going on?
So when was the initial one was in January?
Yeah,
When
so
was
the
resolution?
article, it was that night. So the truck crashed in the afternoon and then they must have located the monkey in the nearby forestry around, like, because the article was updated in 8:12 p.m. But looking at the picture, it was quite the mess. There's like a dump truck off the road. There's like a Dodge Ram off the road, and then just a bunch of like boxes and then monkeys, like monkey crates.
That's fucking awesome.
But all of them were accounted for, luckily. So, and none of the monkeys got busted for a DUI. So, our brothers live another day.
Yeah, I guess so, man. But you gotta hate when justice isn't served. You know.
How dare you?
Hey,
how dare you?
Don't turn this on me. I'm not the
Those
one
are our friends.
High and driving.
Bro, we're not going to narc on our buds. I ain't
know.
about to snitch on them and be like, I got a text from one of the monkeys that was like, bro, you got to cover for me. You got to stall. You got to stall. I was like, bro, I got you. I got a stick of 5 gum in my bag.
Yeah, see, the problem is I didn't get a text, so
Yeah, because this, look at you. You're selling them out already. Justice wasn't served.
I wasn't that way until I was left out of the group for the event.
I wasn't that way until the monkeys made me this way.
Yeah, exactly.
Your fucking villain origin story. There's a picture of you in every zoo in the surrounding Pennsylvania area. It's just like, it's seen this man. Please don't engage. Call 911 immediately. He may be armed and dangerous.
Yeah, no one's. It's gonna be planted as a step soon.
Nobody's fucking safe.
All species. I'm done, dude. The fucking
You don't just.
the
you
monkeys
just-
put me over the edge.
Yeah. That out of context, that sounds awful. The monkeys put me over the edge.
There's probably each 10-second interval of what we just said could be pulled out of context and could be really bad.
That might be a clip I post on like YouTube or something, and I'm like, Seth Cook's a racist?
Dude.
That's why your Twitter is full of all those racist things, man. Because look all the shit you're saying.
Oh my god. Yeah, looking back, starting to think about everything we just said, I'm like, ooh, that's a dangerous line to toe.
It's like it's like when you're laying in bed trying to fall asleep and your brain's just filled with like nonsense, and then you're just like, maybe I am racist. Then you're like, nah.
Oh my god.
I hate everybody equally in species too, not even just people. Like you hate monkeys, you hate zebras, dogs, fish, shrimp.
Oh, shrimp have no shot, dude. Shrimp are like second or third in line.
Enemy number 1.
Yeah, dude.
Fucking shrimp.
It's because it's gonna be miserable trying to kill them all, but you got to start somewhere.
You can be like a caveman with like a spear, just like poking the wire, like damn it, damn it, damn it. They're so elusive.
Like fucking Castaway. That's fucking awesome.
Would you fuck the Wilson volleyball if you were the Castaway? Like you're carving a hole in that thing and just going to town, right?
It's gonna deflate if you do, so I don't think you can.
But you have to try.
Unless you make like an attachment out of like leaves or some shit.
Or you could like bamboo scaffold it in the inside, so it's like it stays inflated.
That's
or
true.
it keeps shape.
Then it's not perfectly round though, because if you got fucking bamboo sticks in there, it's.
I mean, if you have nothing better to do and you're really horny, like put me on an island with like a bottle of Viagra and a volleyball, and I'm gonna make anything. I'm gonna make it work.
I think the way to do it is to take leaves and make a attachment that allows you to do that without popping the ball.
Attachment? What are you talking about? Like it's a fucking Glock 18. What are you talking about?
Like
what attachment?
If you wrap it in leaves, then you can separate between the leaves and the ball, and it creates a little pocket for you. And then you're not popping the ball.
Got this new. We're gonna go on Shark Tank. All right, sharks.
This is Yellow Sharks. This is an attachment that allows you to fuck your volleyball.
Mark Cuban fucking jumps up. He's like, I love it. This guy's thinking.
Yeah. We're looking for a $5 million for 60.
Mr. Wonderful's like, oh, I hate it. I'll give you 500,000 for 1% of the company.
Yeah, but he does that, but then he buys one after the show.
All right, sharks.
I think Barbara's not going to be a fan, personally. It's not really.
She has a punchable face. I hate saying that.
We could market this thing both ways. You could make an attachment for both groups for whatever you're.
Stop saying attachment. I fucking hate that.
What would you rather me say, dude? This is a business setting. I'm trying to use.
I don't know. Attachment. I guess you could just say like an addition. That's the same word, really.
Attachment. Attachment is the perfect word. It attaches to the item.
I am never gonna look at a volleyball the same without thinking of your fucking attachment to fuck it.
Yeah, me either. And I play volleyball Wednesday nights. So this is gonna be
that's right. You could try it out then. Let me know how it is.
Yeah, I'll see what materials they have around the gym and try to workshop something.
Just like careful your shoulder. Like, leave me alone.
I'm busy.
I'm busy. Leave me alone.
Get out of my room.
So you're gonna come on next week and be like, "Sorry, I'm no longer welcome back at the rec gym."
Yeah. I just come back next week. You see like 6 volleyballs in the background, and they're all
So,
flat. And I'm like,
so Seth, what's been going around the farm for you? You don't want to know.
yeah,
I've seen some shit this last week, man.
it's been dark.
It's been dark. All right, what's your news story after we just talked about fucking volleyballs for 5 minutes?
We went down a pretty dark, dangerous rabbit hole right there since that news story.
It has to be done though.
It does, but well, does it?
Who else is going to talk about attachments for Shark Tanks to fuck volleyball other than us?
No one.
Mark Cuban needs to hear this.
That's what
All
makes.
right, last week it was Nick Saban. This week it's Mark Cuban.
Yes.
I'm tagging him.
Shut up, Mark. Can you do a Mark Cuban impression?
No,
You can't.
I don't. I mean, doesn't he just talk like a normal person?
No. You want me to do a Mark Cuban impression?
Could you?
Hey, this is Mark Cuban.
That's unfucking canny.
Oh, dude.
Hey Sharks, I got this idea. Hey, it's Mark Cuban.
Fucking volleyballs. I love it.
Oh, I love fucking volleyball. It's Luka Doncic.
Okay.
What's your news story, man? Oh,
Dude, so Bill Clinton. No, so there are players on the Philadelphia Eagles who, as much as I absolutely hate that team, they are making a Christmas album.
I heard about this.
It is really good.
Yeah, they're what's his name? Do you know the guy's name? Like the one who's singing?
There's a few that are singing. They're all on the offensive line.
Yeah,
There's
Jason
Lane-
Kelsey. I watched the
Yep.
video from Jason Kelsey's podcast.
Jason Kelsey's the main guy. Lane Johnson's another one that's singing, but Jordan Mailata is the
That guy.
the name of the left tackle that like absolutely
Killed
could
it.
just have a music career.
Oh yeah, he has a
Like
great voice.
incredible. He was on The Masked Singer.
That's right.
Yeah, and he got fucking robbed.
He
But
killed it.
he was incredible. But yeah, no, I love and hate it. I love it because it's really good and it's cool to see football players doing that. I hate it because I hate the Eagles.
Why?
We can't do this. We can't do this. I can't go down this road. This podcast is supposed to be spirited and
It's
positive.
supposed to be your happy place, not your
Yeah,
sad place.
exactly. I can't.
Where you have to relive the memory of being at the in Minnesota for the Super Bowl.
No, I talk about the Eagles in therapy, not on the podcast. but
You like wake up to just like the fucking bird. Ah!
Exactly. But yeah, no, the album's ridiculous and his voice is incredible. So yeah, there's a ton of clips going around of bits and pieces of the song. And I think just before Christmas it streams on Spotify. They already released one song, but I think the album comes out just before Christmas.
I love their chemistry as a team. I know you hate the team, but I love Jason Kelsey so much.
It bothers me that I hate the team because there's a lot of players on the team that I like.
The Jalen Hurts podcast episode with the Kelsey brothers was really funny.
I haven't seen it. I've only seen clips of the Kelsey Brothers podcast.
I actually watched that, like most of that episode. So they did an interview with Jalen Hurts, and my favorite part of it was Travis was asking Jalen, because Jason said that everybody that plays with him, all the quarterbacks he's ever played with, hates the way he snaps the ball because he gets it to them so fast. So
Yeah.
Travis was like, "Is it getting to you quick?" And Jalen Hurts just without missing a beat goes, "Fast." And it's just like the comedic timing was just so funny, and he's a funny dude, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I think on the album they have an appearance from him where they do
Really?
they do like a little break in the singing, and they do a little like banter thing, and he's in that section of it.
Now, do you still hate the team, even though most of the players that were on that team really aren't there anymore?
Yes,
Really?
hate the Giants. Hate
So
the
it's like the Yankees for being a Red Sox fan. Like regardless of who's there, you just hate the Yankees because they're Yankee players.
yes,
Yeah,
despite maybe occasionally wanting to like some of them.
like Aaron Judge.
Eh, no,
I've always liked Aaron Judge.
now that he re-signed with the Yankees, I'm done with him. Before then, well, maybe like he could get out.
Yeah,
I was in. Now that he re-signed, dead to me, dude. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Donzo.
Yeah,
That's fair. I mean, I pick weird players to hate. Like I hate. I don't know why. I can't stand Garrett Cole. Cannot stand that fucking guy.
I know why. It's because he fucking sucks.
He's probably the Yankee player I've hated the most in my life that's not named Alex Rodriguez.
That's fair.
I will say Alex Rodriguez, I think, gets overhated nowadays.
I don't think so.
I think he does.
I'm happy that he had to go through the loss of not being with Jennifer Lopez anymore.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
But I think now that he's retired and he's commentating, I don't think he's that bad.
I do. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Dude, absolutely.
I don't think he's the worst guy in the world. I mean, I definitely see why people don't like him still because of what he did and how much of a fucking cocksucker he was, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's that bad anymore. I think he's grown.
Yeah, he has grown. He's fat as fuck.
Probably from all the steroids he took.
Yeah, exactly.
Juicing. You know who else I think never took steroids? Barry Bonds.
He did.
That guy was natty.
Yeah. No. If he
That guy
did
was
take
natty.
steroids, here's how he would have done it. But
He would have hit 75 home runs in a season,
exactly.
not 73.
So, what are your thoughts on him in the Hall of Fame? What do you think should happen?
He's never going to get in, and it's a crime. I think it's a shame.
I agree completely.
Regardless of what you think, when it comes to steroid use, Barry Bonds without steroids was still a 30-30 player and was a multiple-time MVP
Yeah,
and
he's
would have
focused.
gone down as that generation's Mookie Betts, but better. He would have
Yeah.
been Mike Trout. He was essentially what Mike Trout was, but faster.
Yeah.
But the problem was, as the game was evolving because of baseball was dying in the late 90s, and they needed something, and they discovered, well, if you have people like Jose Canseco, Mark McGwire, and Sammy Sosa who are hitting 40, 50, 60 home runs a season, that's cool. And then nobody started caring about average anymore and stealing bases, and they were all for home runs. But, I mean, I don't care if you take steroids. If you and I took steroids today, we could never replicate what he did. I don't even think Aaron Judge could. Like, I think Aaron Judge is the closest we've had, but
Speak for yourself, dude. I could absolutely do it. 100%.
go out there and hit 80 dingers.
Yes.
Mm.
No problem.
I think you could hit one.
Do you think if you got like however many at bats that you wanted from an MLB pitcher, they could only throw fastballs, so no curves and shit?
Oh,
Do
yeah,
you
of course.
over the course of a day you could hit a home run?
Absolutely.
I do too.
I've played enough Wii Sports baseball in my life to get used to the speeds by now.
I probably, like, unreasonably, truly believe I could do that.
I think you'd be selling yourself short if you said you couldn't, because the biggest issue you'd have is if they threw their off speed.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to get used to the fastball. But even if they were throwing, like, I think Jacob deGrom is the guy who throws the fastest in the MLB right now, like, and has the most nastiest stuff.
Yeah.
If he was just like basically you had a pitching machine that just replicated his pitches exactly, I still think you could hit it in the course of a day if you just sit fastball. If you sit literally nothing else and you time, it might take you 12 or 16 hours, but I think eventually you'd be able to time it up enough that you'd be able to swing ahead of it and to get it out 100%.
I disagree with that one. I think you could get a hit in that scenario. I don't think if you have to watch out for junk that you're hitting a home run.
Well, that's why it doesn't. You don't care though, because in the theory, the fastball is going to come in at the same speed every single time. So Jacob deGrom, I think, tops out at 103. I think his fastest pitch ever is 103. So the fastball will be 103. The curveball will be 79 or 80, whatever it is.
That's such a
I
fucking.
but if you just sit there and you time your swing like it's going to be a fastball every single time, you might look like a moron half the time when it's a changeup. But the thing is, when it's a fastball and you're timed up for it and you connect with it, then I think that you could easily do that because you're not worried about striking out. You don't care. I mean, I might look ridiculous up there swinging at a pitch that's like not even left his hand yet, and I'm already swinging the bat.
Yeah, that's true. And if a pitch is coming in at 103, you don't need the most powerful swing of all time to get one
No,
over the fence, especially if you're somewhere like Yankee Stadium where you got the short porch and right.
you're playing little league baseball at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. Just fucking bloop it over to the other side. Like,
I think anybody who's played baseball and has swung a bat and knows how to do it correctly, at least semi correctly, I think that you could easily in the course of an entire day. Yeah, absolutely.
I agree. I don't know that I agree if you are worrying about junk, but I think if you're just able to practice on the fastballs,
Yeah.
I think you could definitely do it.
But see, I mean, I'm literally going to swing like it's a fastball every single pitch. I'm not going to expect it to be anything other than a fastball. So my swing timing is going to be the same every single time. That's what I'm saying. So like I'm not even going to pay
Yeah.
attention to those curveballs. It might look, like I said, I might look ridiculous because if you're swinging like it's a fastball, it's a curveball, you're going to be the ball is going to be like in his hand still, and you're going to be to finish your swing. But I don't care because I don't need to look good. I'm going to look good when I'm running around the bases.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
Yeah. See, that's my philosophy. It wouldn't
Yeah,
be. It would not be easy. It would probably take. I think it would genuinely take me probably like a minimum of 10 hours to get a home run off of Jacob deGrom.
I don't even think it would take that long.
I think it probably would.
You think so?
I think you're underestimating how fast that ball is going to look.
Yeah, but also if you're just able to see the same thing every time,
Yeah.
and you're pumped.
So is it going to the same location? That's another thing. Is it going to the same spot? Like, is it a fastball right down the middle, or is it a fastball that's going to be in like one quadrant?
I think if
Like,
it
you
was
played
going,
MLB The Show before?
yeah,
So you know how like the strike zones, like it's like a box, right? So would yours come right in the middle, or would it have like the 9 quadrants, like your top right corner, left corner, middle?
I think if it was coming to the same spot every time, you could probably get a home run within an hour. Like if you were just
I think,
fastball,
yeah,
same spot, like consistent, all you have to do is find one and get lucky and put the bat on it, you're set. I
yeah,
think if you're worrying about junk and the fastballs are going to different locations, you might be there a couple days.
yeah. But I think honestly, the biggest concern that you have to worry about too is being too early on it. I think people think the hardest part is getting your bat on the ball. I think you'd be too early on it for a while, and you'd be hooking them. So I'm a lefty batter, so I would be like hitting it to the first base box every single time because you're gonna swing way too early, and then you're gonna swing too late, and then you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I think putting a ball in play with the right timing is going to be incredibly difficult.
Yes. I agree completely. Hypotheticals?
Hypotheticals.
Okay. You want to start or you want me to start?
I started last week, so I would be honored if you started this week.
Okay. Here's the situation.
All right. Mike, the situation.
Yes. That's the hypothetical right there. Mike, the situation?
Shelly?
So there's a laptop that has an open page for an Amazon account that has $5,000 on it for you to spend. The laptop is bolted down to a table, so you cannot move it. It is in a room about the size of like maybe a bedroom. And there's no way to like log out and log in somewhere else. Like you have to spend the money on this laptop. But the entire laptop and the room are covered in human shit. Do you think you would be able to spend enough time in the room to spend $5,000? Or how much of it do you think you'd be able to spend?
All of it.
You think so?
I actually need more money.
You think so?
Yeah, you can buy an excavator, like a construction vehicle, on Amazon, like $11,000.
But you'd think you'd be able to fucking sit there just in human shit, touching human shit with your bare hands on the computer, like just going to town. Like when you really think
I
about,
really want that excavator.
when you really stop and think about this room, if everything's covered in human shit, you might
So
slip.
human shit, like the
Make
watery shit, like it rained just
a
feces, like a sewage
steady,
pipe burst.
a steady mix. You got some sludge
Ooh,
on the floor. There's fucking water dripping down the screen. There's a few fucking logs here and there.
is the room actively? Is the shit finished? It's just sitting there? It's not still falling? Is there increments of time where they fall?
The entire room is covered in shit. So there's some on the ceiling. It might be dripping. There might
Okay,
be little
so
pieces.
the room is like an active crime scene.
Yes,
Okay,
like it's fucking bad. You are definitely getting covered in shit, and
so
you
if
are
this was today, no, I don't need anything or want anything bad enough that I couldn't realistically buy myself, that I would torture myself. And $5,000 is not enough money for that. If it was 50,000 to 100, we'd be having a different conversation.
think
But
so.
5,000 is not enough money for me to do that. I think in my current state of where I am, no.
It is absolutely enough money for me.
You would do it.
100%. And
What the fuck would you buy?
I don't know. And I'm not.
What do you mean? You don't know? You walk into this room with no idea. You're like, I'm gonna go
Well,
hang out and shit for an hour. Let me go browse the Cyber Monday deals, guys. Hold on.
I would plan it out ahead of time. I just haven't yet. But
Okay.
um, but I'm not delusional enough to think I would just be able to go in there and like, oh, I could hold my breath and fucking not
Oh,
do
you're adding
like
vomit to the mix of smells in there because you're puking at least
100.
6 times.
Dude, I fully expect to be fucking vomiting the whole time. It's gonna be the
What if you
worst
pass
experience
out?
of my life.
What if you puke and pass out and you end up with shit covering the floor and then you wake up to puke again and then pass out?
That would be bad.
You're really risking that for what is it, $5,000?
Yes,
Fine. Okay.
absolutely. Free. It's fucking a
But
free
you don't even know off the top of your head what you'd buy with it though. Like I
No, I
think you'd
don't.
say
But I
that
just
because
made
you're
like
like,
a
"Oh, I
million.
really want this like expensive TV or guitar or something." But you don't even know.
See, there's a good option. I could get a guitar. That'd be nice.
A $5,000 guitar?
Why not?
What are you buying, a guitar signed by fucking OJ Simpson? I'd buy that.
There's fucking. You could get
He
a.
didn't do it.
But if he did, he might have used a guitar.
OJ Simpson's autograph should actually underneath just say I didn't do it. I'd buy more OJ merchandise if that was his actual autograph.
If there was a signature that said that, I would 100% buy a piece of memorabilia.
He's delusional enough that I think he would do that.
Probably.
If he hasn't yet.
I bet someone could convince him to do it.
Please,
New
OJ, the juice.
new life goal.
It's loose juice. Please sign this.
Yeah.
But
Dude,
no, I think to really answer your question, I would not. I wouldn't do it.
so what's the amount of money that, like, this is the amount of money where you would
You
cross
jack it
over?
up to $50,000, and I'm there. $25,000, I'm there. 15,000, I'm there. 10,000, I'm thinking about it.
So it's like somewhere between 10 and 15,000 is where you cross over.
I consider $10,000 to $15,000 like a life changing amount of money because of the amount of things. But the problem is it's an Amazon cart. But if you're smart, I'm not. But if I was, I would definitely buy a bunch of things that I know I could resell for the same amount of money without losing money.
Yeah.
So like if I wanted to go buy like a guitar, right? Or like if I want to be responsible, I could go and buy like adult things. Ew. But if I wanted to, I could be responsible. Then I would buy a bunch of like TVs and electronics like iPhones because I know I can resell those for without losing too much money, so I could then pocket some money and then pay off my bills because I'm responsible in this scenario. Me, I'd probably go and buy the dumbest shit imaginable, like an entire cork board signed by all the Golden Girls for like $5,000. I'd probably buy that and be like, I don't know what happened to all the money.
Or you'd buy 5,000 rubber chickens.
What do you mean? I don't have any of those.
Dude, you could finally do your buy a ton of them and fill a room up with them.
No. All right, I changed my answer. $5,000 is enough. $5,000 is enough money, and I'm doing it.
I love it. All right, let's hit yours.
All right, so my first one is, what mythological creature do you think would taste the best if you were preparing a meal? Like, think like the Kraken, Bigfoot, Pegasus, Godzilla from last week. Like, if you're like, okay, let me get it more specific so we're not so open ended. You're cooking up a gourmet steak like dinner for a girl, right? So you have like a dinner to impress this like supermodel hot girl for a date, and you have to prepare a dish with a mythological creature. What do you think would taste the best for you and for her?
Do you have an answer to this?
I do.
What is it?
Okay, so I thought about this a little bit, not too much, because I don't like to prepare my answers ahead of time. So I'm going to think out loud. I think I'd have to go with Pegasus because the thing looks majestic, and I feel like it has to taste majestic too. And that's just based on appearance.
That's interesting.
So Pegasus is like a horse, right? Isn't that what a Pegasus is? Is like a horse type flying horse. So I've never ate horse before. I think it's illegal to eat horse, isn't it?
I want to say it is, but not everywhere.
So a Pegasus has wings too. So you could make up some like chicken wing type dishes with a Pegasus wing, right?
That'd be a massive wing because the chicken.
I'm okay, like a
the
turkey leg. I'm fine with it.
I think you'd be able to.
I think it would taste good. Or I'm not big into seafood, but I think if you were gonna cook up a nice seafood dish, I think a killing the Kraken. I mean, you'd have meat for years.
That was the answer that I was gonna give.
I think that's not a bad choice.
I think that or that
Bigfoot could taste like bear. I've never ate bear either. Can you even eat bear? I think you can.
bear.
Can you eat bear?
I mean, physically, you definitely could. I don't think it's common.
Or what if Pegasus tastes like a venison, like deer?
That'd be fucking
Could
awesome.
I've never had venison either, but I've heard it's really good.
It's ridiculous. It's so good. Yeah,
Do
that's
people cook bear meat? I'm gonna Google this.
I like it. The other places my mind went are the Abominable Snowman because he's probably got a lot of fat holding in the meat, but the meat's probably like it's probably a lot there to eat. So
I feel like it's just that's not a bad choice. I didn't even think about that one.
yeah, so I think that could be good. The shark from Jaws, possibly.
Oh yeah, it's a big ass shark, or the shark from the Meg.
Well, I think the megalodon isn't a mythical creature. I think it existed.
It did,
So
but I think the one from Jaws was even bigger.
I do too. But it's also a specific example, so it's technically mythical.
Perfect example.
Unless mythical is like urban myth kind of thing. But
So I think the last 2 weeks I've had a mythological creature question, and I always think like mythological creature. I always just say like fiction. Like I just think that never existed. It doesn't have to be like from a mythology. It could just be like a fictional character from literature or from movies or whatever. It doesn't have to be from like a specific like mythology.
gotcha. Yeah, the fucking Kraken calamari would be so good.
Oh yeah,
That's
fried
nasty.
Kraken would be good.
I think
Honestly, I think I wouldn't mind eating Cupid.
the fella.
Yep. Ella.
You know what I think could be good is Shelly.
Shelly. The fact that you said the fella, that couldn't have been a funnier fucking way to phrase that. The fella. Maybe cook up a nice little fucking like fry his skin up like a potato chip with those little bow and arrow as a garnish. And if you're eating, oh no, if you're eating him too, because Cupid's like the little fucking baby diaper bozo for love. So if you're eating him, then is your date gonna fall in love with you? Because isn't like Cupid's arrow gets shot? So you just like as she's eating, you're like, what is this? Is this human? You fucking stab her with the arrow, and she's like, I love you.
That's a good point.
See?
So I think as far as you kind of pose two different questions: what would taste the best, and then how do you impress the supermodel? That's the impress the supermodel answer, because regardless
by stabbing her in the fucking thigh with Cupid's arrow and making her fall in love with you.
Regardless of how the food is, she's in.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's
well. I think you're skipping over the fact that I'm feeding her fried human skin.
No, because it won't matter once you fucking
stab her. And she starts to like freak out that you're feeding her human skin, and I'm like, "Huh, too bad."
Exactly.
Like a syringe.
However, I think I just thought of the right answer.
What is the right answer?
If it can be from movies and stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm rolling with the weird pig dude that trains Hercules in Hercules. Have you seen it?
I haven't. I'm gonna look it up. I've seen it. It's just been a long time. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
The stout.
I typed in pig dude from Hercules.
If you go, that dude.
Oh yeah, that little fucking like the devil looking thing.
Yeah.
He kind of looks like the depiction of the devil, does he not?
I think so.
Because the devil always talked about having like horns.
Yeah. No, but he looks like a fucking. He's plump as hell, dude. That would be.
Is his name Phil?
I think so.
Phil. Not like this crazy name. It's just
Philoctetes is his full name, but his nickname is Phil.
What up? My name's Phil. The Tasmanian devil might not be a bad choice to eat either.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Or like the big ass chicken from Chicken Little.
Yes, the dad.
It's kind of unfair though because it's not really a mythological like meat. Like it's just chicken. That's a cop out.
That's true.
like we don't know what Pegasus would taste like or like the Kraken. We have an idea, but like we don't really know.
Yeah, I guess that pig dude's kind of similar because
it's like pork.
He just looks like a wild boar.
But he's a creature though. So like that's the thing. And it's not really unfair.
You don't truly know what it would taste like.
But like the chicken from Chicken Little is just a fucking chicken. Kentucky Fried.
Fuck yeah, dude. I bet Chicken Little would taste absolutely horrible. There'd be like no meat to have.
Well, he'd probably fucking just whine the whole time. You're like killing him. He's like, oh, the sky's falling. The sky's falling. It's like, yeah, this hammer's falling on your fucking dome too.
Exactly.
You don't hear me crying about it.
Nah, if I'm making Chicken Little, I'm cooking him like you cook lobster. I'm just getting a big pot of boiling water and just fucking dropping him in. Bye, buddy.
The sky's falling. Ah! Jesus, that little fucking rat.
Exactly.
I have a weird love for that. Oh, you could also kill and eat that fat ass pig from that movie too.
The
actual pig. I'm not talking about like an actual like as a fat ass pig in that movie. Dude, he is fucking thick, my boy.
That's another answer that you kind of know what it would taste like, but it's a great answer given the premises.
Bro, my boy is built. Runt is his name. Runt could throw it back for me and I wouldn't complain. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, he's thick as hell.
Homie's got me about to act up over here, bro. I'm telling you what.
Do people eat hippo? Is that a thing?
Oh, the hippo from Madagascar?
Yeah.
Dude, she bad as hell though. I ain't gonna eat her.
How could you?
I might eat her, but not like consumer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's the one you're trying to impress at the dinner. She's the hot one.
Hey, little mama.
Yeah, you're stabbing her with Cupid's arrow.
bruh, I'll be stabbing her with a lot of things. Cupid's arrow just happens to be one of them. I
All
got
right,
this
you know
weird crush. I got this weird crush on her. I think. I think that was the first time I think you know what the moment when you're a boy and you become a man.
that was it for you,
That was when I was watching Madagascar, and I was like, man, I got something in my pants. I don't know what's going on.
dude. Fucking Madagascar out here, dude.
Bro, she's too flirtatious. I don't know. She's making me feel some kind of way. That and the little weird ugly duckling from Chicken Little.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Just
I'm
something
there.
about her.
I'm there.
Something about her, bro. I'm there.
All right, you want my next one?
I do, yeah.
So I know we briefly touched on this, and then we immediately stopped talking about it so that we could talk about it now.
Yep.
As we know, Kenley Jansen signed with Fenway, and it got us talking about closers and songs. So my question is, as a batter and then as a closer, what would your walkout songs be?
Do you have somewhat of an answer for this?
Yes, this one I couldn't help myself, and I thought about all week long.
Okay, I'd like to hear yours while I think about mine.
Okay, we'll go batter, batter, pitcher, pitcher.
Okay.
So for batter, for both, I kind of have like serious answers and goofy answers.
Mm-hmm.
For batter, a serious answer would be, I feel like "Here Comes the Boom" would be a great song to walk out to.
Yep.
But then I also thought that the Austin Powers theme song would be fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah.
To do that one and like walk out with your bat like Austin Powers. Dude,
Groovy, baby.
yeah, dude, throw the fucking pitcher right off. Because I guess also if you could throw the pitcher off and maybe make him laugh on your way out,
True.
like, you might gain a little bit of an edge there.
It might be a competitive advantage to have a funny walk-up song.
So the third walk-up song for that is I thought I could take a song and change the lyrics to it myself about being really good at baseball, but like perform it really bad and have really bad audio quality. So then they're playing a song of like me trying to rap about like hitting a home run. And like I could walk out and like kind of quietly sing it to myself.
You're like torturously off beat. You're like, Seth Cook, yeah, I hit bombs. Like Sammy Sosa. Like you have to have it where you have a rhyme that's so perfectly. You can say bombs, Barry Bonds. Be like, yeah, I hit bombs. Like Conseco,
Yeah, dude. So those were my three that I thought of for being a batter.
I like it. I think for me. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, "Here Comes the Boom" is definitely my like. If I proposed the other two and the team was like, "Go fuck yourself," you're not doing that.
Like,
Then
fine.
I guess I'd be like, "All right, then I'll do the fucking cookie cutter answer and go with 'Here Comes the Boom.'"
I think for me, I would it sucks because my first answer, I went to my serious answer was a song called "No More Parties in L.A." and the feature is Kendrick Lamar, and that's the part I would use. His verse in that song, I think, is just like super, like it just fits the vibe for what I was going for.
Yeah.
But the problem is the artist in that song is Kanye West, and I do not and will not listen to Kanye West music. I will not support that man.
Fair enough.
That was my first reaction. But then for a goofy one for a walk up song, there's a video on YouTube that's just some guy saying hamburger, but there's like pauses, like uncomfortable pauses. I think I would just have that where like it just goes hamburger, and I take like 35 seconds to get to the plate, and like right before I'm about to swing, it's like hamburger. That's what I think I would do.
That would be awesome.
For the same reason that you would, because it's just like a psychological advantage of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
If the team said absolutely not to that one, probably the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse theme song.
That would also be great.
but the only the part that's like Miska, Muska, but it's just that looped. Like it never advances. Like it's like you know when a record gets stuck and it just keeps replaying the
Yeah,
same parts.
keep
I edit
skipping.
the song. Yeah, I edit the song so it just is stuck on a loop where it's like about to get into where he goes Mickey and it just goes Miska, Muska. So it's just stuck on a constant like 14-second loop.
I love that.
Like I'm blue balling the whole audience. Like I want to hear the Mickey Mouse part, and it never gets there.
That'd be fucking awesome.
But I don't know. I think I'd like to change my serious one, but honestly, my brain got flooded with ideas that I don't really have a good answer for you at the moment.
It's
Funny
tough.
enough, I did this when I was playing UFC on Xbox
Yeah.
because I was hoping you could import like custom music. So I was like, what would I give myself as a walkout song if I was like a UFC fighter? And I had a playlist of songs that I thought would fit. And I honestly cannot remember. I don't have the playlist anymore, but I can't remember what song I picked. I remember I had one, and I was like, "This is perfect." And it
And
was a
then,
rap song, and I can't remember what it was.
damn, that's devastating.
It really is because it must have been a good idea,
Yeah.
but I can't remember what it was to this day.
We want to go to closers?
Yeah,
Okay. So, had the Austin Powers theme again because I feel like the doing the Austin Powers walk from the outfield all the way to the pitcher's mound would be fucking awesome.
that would be fucking hysterical.
Yeah, take a little lap too, go the long way around. Um, so I had that one. Another good one would be Stone Cold Steve Austin's walkout song.
I'm
To,
shocked no one's actually used that yet.
to just hear glass shatter and
Yeah,
then the pitcher just fucking sprints out of the bullpen and just gets on the mound with some beers and just fucking
there's got to be a copyright problem with WWE that they won't let them like MLB use that because like, somebody would have used it by now.
yeah, like that would be
I
sick
have
as
no doubt.
fuck. And then another crowd pleaser would probably be "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Like that.
Like, but I think it would be great if you started to play like some song that would make sense, like a song everyone would expect a closer to come out to,
Yeah.
and then have it scratch and hit "Never Gonna Give You Up."
Like
Like
it
that.
starts off like with the intro riff to like Enter Sandman and just goes into that.
Yeah, exactly.
That honestly could be a marketable ploy for a closer is if they just rip off all the other like because Trevor Hoffman was Hell's Bells by or that was Heath Bell. Heath Bell was Hell's Bells by AC/DC. So you could like take all the big closers and just like start like Edwin Diaz's trumpet song and then just instantly rickroll them.
Yeah. No, that would be
That'd be
sick. And you could do it based off of who you're playing. Like when you play
yeah,
the Mets, you could do Edwin Diaz's song and then Rickroll.
that would be funny.
Like that would be great. And
I
it would
also
just
just remembered. I also just remembered what the song was for UFC. My
what
walkout
was it?
song. It was a song called "Juggernaut" by Tyler the Creator, with Pharrell Williams and Lil Uzi Vert. And I had a whole reason for it was because like so I used my actual name for the UFC character, so I was Jake Harris. And in my UFC career, I had been like I never got knocked out, but I got knocked down a bunch. So I was like, oh, I'm a Juggernaut. So I picked Juggernaut as my song because like every UFC fighter has their like nickname, like
Yeah.
Sugar Sean O'Malley, John Bones Jones. So I was like Juggernaut Jake Harris. So I picked that song as my walkout song. So I
That's
was
actually kind of sick.
right,
Like that's a great serious answer.
right. So that was for a UFC walkout song, but I'd probably keep it for a baseball because it's still a good song for like a hype like
Yeah, and it would be
uh
great batter or closer.
right, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So then my one other one would take crowd participation, but if you could lock it in, it might be the best option ever. And it is complete silence. If you could get like no music and then you get the whole crowd to quiet down, like they know that this is the shtick of like
Just
the
not
batter.
just nothing, no
Yeah,
sound.
the batter comes out and it's just completely quiet. And then like right as the pitcher throws, they cheer and then immediately get quiet again after the pitch. Like just absolute like it would have to be perfect crowd participation, but like if
I
you could
love that. I actually that is a unique take on an idea I would have never even thought of.
if you could get that dialed in with the crowd, like they knew that's what they're supposed to do for this guy, that would be fucking crazy.
I love that.
I think
I
it,
really
it,
like that idea.
it would really fuck up the batters, I think.
Oh, I would be like petrified. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Because you probably, as a baseball player or really a sports player, get used to the background noise of the crowd.
Absolutely.
If it went away and
That
then
was
it
a big
got,
problem for like the NBA with the bubble.
yeah. But in the bubble, there aren't people. It's just quiet because there's no one there. If your attention gets drawn to the crowd because they're quiet, and then you like notice that everyone's looking at you but no one's saying a word,
True.
then that mindset of like everyone's watching me nerves would kind of bubble up because there's no more white noise. There's no more like what you're used to. There's literally no one doing anything but watching you, not talking, not
Yeah, that
moving.
would that would fuck me up bad.
Yeah, it'd be fucking horrible.
Oh my god. I never even I would have never thought about the prospect like that. Like going to that level. I would have never thought of it that way.
I think it would be impossible. You wouldn't be able to get a crowd to get that quiet.
It would be challenging
There would
and
also
next to impossible.
there would also be opposing fans that would try to break the silence.
True.
So that would be tough. But
Well,
in
I
a
mean, the Oakland Athletics would never. If you were a closer for the Athletics, you'd never have to worry about it. They don't have fans anyway.
that's a good point.
You
But
have you have your walk ups on 24/7.
then you still don't get the having a full crowd be quiet oddity.
Yeah.
That
Well, I
really
guess you can't play for the Athletics or the Tampa Bay Rays then.
nope. It'd fuck it all up.
I think for my closer song, I would pick. Uh, did you ever watch WWE as a kid?
Yeah. Enough.
And do you remember Batista's walkout song? It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'd pick that one.
That would be sick.
That's still in my gym playlist to this day. And that song comes on. If I'm lifting, bro, I'm fucking pumping. I am
There,
hitting my PR.
there's probably a pretty hefty amount of WWE walkout songs that would be great closer walkout songs.
Yeah,
Like, dude,
absolutely.
the Undertaker's song.
Oh,
Like, if you
do
did
you
that,
do you watch the UFC like that, or do you keep up with it at all?
yeah, I just went to a sports bar last night to watch the fights.
Oh, those are good fights last night. I heard there was some controversial finishes, but
I don't. I, people were upset with the tie at the end. I don't mind it because when I looked at the scorecard of the guy that tied them, I agreed with how he scored the fight.
yeah,
So I agree with the correct score being a tie,
I
personally.
know a lot of people were pissed about the Paddy Pimblett fight because they thought he had lost that fight.
It,
I didn't watch it, so I don't know, but I saw that was a very, very popular opinion among people who actually saw the fight.
I'm pretty convinced that they probably gave him the win because he's such a rising star for them that they want to be able to keep giving him bigger fights. Like if he had
I
to
mean,
stop at Jared Gordon and move back down a little bit because he lost,
yeah,
like that would be really bad for the brand.
it's
He
not
needs
a good look for him though. Even though
uh,
he won the fight, it's not a good look that that he struggled against what's supposed to be a nobody. Not to take away from what Jared Gordon is a fighter, but this was kind of their like, let's just feed you another opponent so you can work up the ranks to get to in the title picture. Not a good look for Paddy Pimblett, I don't think.
yeah. Which speaking of, Jared Gordon's walkout song last night was "Edge of 17" by Stevie Nicks,
Love that
and
song.
it was sick. It was
So the
real.
reason I brought up the UFC was at one of the UFC events a couple months ago. Israel Adesanya came out to the Undertaker's theme song, and he had the whole like hat and the jacket and everything. It was sick.
Yeah, that would be cool
Yeah.
as a closer. To
Oh yeah.
and especially like if that was your walkout song and they shut down all of the lights when you walked out.
And just like the purple like haze.
Yeah, that would be sick. And then when they do turn the lights back on, you're on the mound. Like they don't see you walk out.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be sick.
Also, a real quick side story thinking about purple haze. Do you remember when we were at Buffalo Wild Wings a couple months like last year and I can't remember the name of the song. Jimi Hendrix, the really famous song that he plays. That's not
Is it
Purple
not
Haze.
all on the
No.
Watchtower?
Nope, other one.
Voodoo Child?
Down, yes. The slight return.
Yeah,
Do you remember we were at Buffalo Wild Wings and I said, "Oh, they're playing Hulk Hogan's theme song here,"
I think
and
so.
you go, "What?" I said, "This is Hulk Hogan's theme song," and you said, "This is Jimi Hendrix." That was the first, and I'm not kidding you. I did not know that was Jimi Hendrix until that day.
Huh.
I had no idea that Hulk Hogan had used Jimi Hendrix's theme song. I had no clue. I had always thought it was an original piece that was made by the WWE until then, which makes me sound like such a fucking clown for how much I love music that I didn't know Jimi Hendrix, like what the probably the best guitarist that's ever lived, and had no idea that was one of his most famous songs until then.
Yeah,
It's a crime. It's a
he's
war crime.
he's one of the guitarists that I could probably pick out a song of his that I've never heard purely because I know what his guitar sounds like.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of those. Like there's plenty of people that like it could go either way. There's like him, Stevie Ray Vaughan is like that.
Yep.
Eric Clapton's probably like that. Eddie Van Halen's definitely like that. Like
Absolutely.
there's those guitarists that like you hear them and you know it's almost like they have a voice, like a second
Yep.
voice. Like you know
Absolutely.
exactly who it is.
Yeah, I was ashamed when I realized that I called Voodoo Child Hulk Hogan's theme song. I wasn't wrong though; it was his theme song. But they apparently WCW paid a fuckload of money to Jimi Hendrix's estate to use that song because Hulk
That's
Hogan said he wasn't performing if he couldn't get the rights to it.
really
Yeah, he was like that. Like they were like, we're not gonna get Jimi Hendrix. Like that's a ridiculous amount of money to ask for a theme song. He's like, well, too bad. I'm Hulk Hogan. This is my company, pretty much.
that's
And
awesome.
they were like, okay, like we'll figure it out. They had to pay a bunch of money to get that song too.
That's crazy.
If you want what you want, you're Hulk Hogan. Who's gonna say no, right?
I mean, I'm definitely not saying no to Hulk Hogan.
I'm not either.
I'm not that brave.
The Hulkster, Hulkamania, brother.
Hey, I'm
I
Hulk
got.
Hogan.
I'm Hulk Hogan, brother. Dude, what? When did Mark Cuban get here? I got one last hypothetical question for you before we wrap up today's episode. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you find a book and begin to read it, only to discover that it's your life written out on the page. You get to a point in the book that it's right now, this moment, but the book still has pages left after it. Do you turn the page knowing that you will not be able to change the events that you're going to read about? They're going to happen regardless of what you do to change them. Would you read the book to learn what happens in your future?
Fuck.
Or would you just let it play out the way it is now and be able to read back on your past? Because I'll give you my answer while you're considering. I would not. And I would not every single time. Because imagine you read the book, right? This is where my brain goes to. If you read the book and it states like you're gonna live another 3 years and you're gonna die, you would not live comfortably because every day would feel like a countdown. Like technically when you go to bed every night, it's a countdown to your death. Every day is a countdown to your death if you think about it morbidly. I mean, we're all
But
gonna die.
it's an unknown countdown.
Exactly. I mean, we could die tomorrow. We could die in 40 years, 60 years. If we're healthy enough, even like close to 90 years from now.
Yeah.
So it's like we don't know that. But if you had a concrete day of like, oh, November 14th, like 2035, right? Like you are going to circle that day, and every decision you make from now until then is going to be calculated and done with a purpose because you don't want to waste a second of your time. And I wouldn't want to live with that over like that deadline over my head. I wouldn't want to do it. Like I don't even care if the book was like, oh, you live to 2090 or whatever. I still won't want. I don't want that over my head of like knowing.
That's fair. I think initially I would be very against reading it, and then I'd get hammered and be like, I'll read a little bit. That would be a great
Well,
option, though, is get absolutely obliterated, read it, and then forget what you read the next day. But then you got the
yeah,
early part of reading it.
I guess, but I mean, for me, it's just I don't know. I like to live life in the moment, and I feel like if you read ahead and you know, like, and also we have to set kind of some precedent because you can't change what the book is going to say or do or what's going to happen to you. So I guess it wouldn't be like written out like, oh, if like we picked a book up right now and reading what's happening, it wouldn't be a transcription of like what we're talking about. Like
Yeah.
it would just be like highlights of like, oh, like for you it'd be like, oh, you know, finished school at UMF and then went to UMaine and then moved out to Colorado. Like those things, but it wouldn't be like a day-to-day description of what you did and what you do. It would just be like if you flip the page that's like right now of like, oh, today is December 3rd, like 11th or whatever, and you flip and it's like, oh, February 16th, 2024, it's like moves to Florida. Like you can't change that's going to happen, but you also know that you're going to move to Florida regardless if you want to or not because you're being controlled by in this situation by like a being that's not you.
Yeah, I also like to live in the moment, but I also know I have zero self-control.
Fair enough.
So that's my problem. Is if I
I
had
think
this,
I'd burn the book.
I would probably have to in order
Yeah.
to not read it. Because
I
there's
think that's normal. That's human
yeah,
curiosity.
if I'm being completely honest with myself, I would not be able to just have it sitting around. I would have to
Me too.
burn it
Me and
the
you both.
second I got it,
Me and you both.
which is
Because
probably
because I know I would get like depressed and I'd be like, am I gonna find love? And I'd like read and it's like you're gonna die alone in 2 years. It's like, well, but it's like, or because for me I'd be like, I'm such a hopeless, not romantic, but like hopeless optimist, where I'd be like, what if I like am gonna find the love of my life and have kids in 6 years? But it's like I read it, it's like you're gonna be single and get into a car accident on this date, 2045. It's like, well,
yeah.
because then it's like you're either gonna be excited, but here's my other problem. So if you pick up the book and you read that you're gonna get what you want right now, but it's not for another 10 years, these next 10 years are going to be useless to you in my mind because if I'm like, oh, I'm just basically I know I'm going to find not this how I think because it's like, oh, I know I'm going to find a wife in 2035, but from now until then I'm just going to be doing what, maybe going through a couple of relationships here and there, but I know they're not going to be the ones because I'm going to meet this, like How I Met Your Mother for instance is like that,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, that is true, but also you could make the argument that if you know you're going to meet her in 10 years, you can be comfortable and not worrying about it for 10 years. You
True.
can do whatever you want to do. You can focus on your career because you don't have to be like, oh, well, I have to make the time to try to go out and meet people
You got a point
because
there, yeah.
all right, in 10 years, I'll meet her. So now I'm just going to do career and friends. And that's all I'm going to focus on.
I think for me though, like that's very true. But for me, in my reasoning, it's like I would struggle because it's like, oh, if I'm like, what if I like if I see a girl in 3 years who I'm like kind of hanging out with and we're like dating, and I'm like, I really want this to be the one. Like, what if you fall in love? But it obviously like if the book tells you that's not going to be your wife because you're going to meet your wife in 10 years, then what's the point of dating? Because then you're like, I like if you love that girl, but it's it's not going to work. Then why even put the effort into trying?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Really, I don't
So
think
I
my
don't know, man.
angle I don't think my angle was a this is why it's good. It's more of a this is how you could make it good. Like a worst
Very
case
true.
scenario situation.
Yeah.
And I have my new answer.
What's your answer?
I would for sure read the following week or 2 weeks or a month or
Yeah.
like whatever increment of time it gives you. I'd read like a little bit ahead, just so for that month I could be like, "Holy fucking shit, that's crazy!" Like I just read about that, and then
You
immediately,
could fucking scam your friends and be like, I bet you $20 I fall off and break my arm next week. They're like, no.
true, that's true. But yeah, no, I think I'd read just enough increment. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do what I always do with the hypotheticals and turn it into how can I make money on sports. I'm
There
gonna
you go.
read up to the Super Bowl, and then and then fucking cut it, and then burn the book, but bet a fucking ridiculous amount of money on the Super Bowl.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I'd burn the book. I think I'd maybe read up until today, like this moment, and then I'd burn it as hard as that would be to not have the curiosity kill me. I
I
think
think
I'd burn it.
I don't think I would care enough to read up to today. Like I already know all that.
My memory's so bad. I'd like to relive some things,
That's fair.
but there's a lot of
Maybe
bad things I wouldn't want to though.
yeah, maybe when I was really young, I would reread
Yeah,
it just to see like what was going on when I was super super young, like
I'd
before
like
you
to
read
read
stuff
like my
anymore.
my ages like 10 to 16, just to kind of really try to remember what happened and like some of the positives, because I think that'd be pretty cool to take a trip down memory lane like that.
Yeah, that's true.
But I think I'd easily burn the book, or I'd give it to somebody and have them lock it up in a box.
No, I think because even then, there's still the it exists.
But I think I'd want to keep it because like, what if I get like diagnosed with like an illness, like a disease, right? Like I'd want to know at that point. I think I'd be so desperate that I'd want to read it to see if I'm gonna die from it. Because at that point, if I have the prospect of like dying, like you have the prospect of dying every day. Obviously, I mean you could walk out and get by a car, but if
Yeah,
you have like a disease, like a debilitating disease, your prospect of dying is now greatly increased. I think I'd want to go ahead and just say like fuck it. I'm going to read, because if I skip to 10 years later and I'm still here, then I am not going to think that this is going to kill me. But if I like skip ahead say 6 pages and it's blank, I'm like fuck, I better start living life then because I'm probably going to die in the next couple of years then.
that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like
Well,
that would be why I'd want to keep it, because if I get diagnosed with cancer or a different disease that not necessarily as a death sentence, but it's like it definitely my chances of dying are more than they are right now. I'd want
yeah.
to know if I was going to survive it.
Who do you even trust enough to keep that for you though?
My
Because
mom.
you don't think your mom would read it?
Well, I don't. I actually didn't think about if other people could read it. I always thought it was like invisible ink to everybody else, but only your eyes could see it.
No, I'm thinking about like
Everybody else can read it.
yeah, if if whoever locks it up can see when you die and they have the lock, like I
See,
don't want.
I always envisioned it as like it was invisible to everybody else but you. Like the book had invisible ink on it, or I always assumed it was the book couldn't be read by anybody else but you. But if we're doing it that everybody else could read it, I would take it to a, I don't know. I would not trust my mom. Love you,
Well,
mom, but I would not trust her enough to read it. If she could see it, I wouldn't give it to her
she
because
gets
she'd read
to
it 100%.
she gets to see when her son might die. Like
She'd read it 100%.
yeah,
My
no
mom
that
would definitely read it.
I think that information is so incredible that anyone would probably have a hard time not reading it, especially
Seth, if
about
you gave me your book and you're like, "Hey man, please don't read this. This is where I'm gonna die," I'm like, "All right." The second I get off this fucking call with you, I'm like flipping ahead. I'm like,
one
"Ha!
million,
Seth's having his first kid this year, and I'm gonna make jokes about it."
1,000,000%. And like it's also scary because if you know who gives it to you, then them reading it would have an effect on your life. If you don't know who you're giving it to, then if they read it, they now have ridiculous information that they could hold over the head of you and use it to manipulate you. If they
One thing you could do to get around this is you could buy a lock yourself, right? And lock it up. Give the box that's locked to somebody like my mom, and then give the key to somebody else.
well,
So
or
if I lock it, I give it to my mom, and I give the key to like my grandmother.
well,
Then two different people.
where I thought you were going with that was just lock it in a box that you lock, and then they put it in another box that they lock. So now there's two layers of security of you can't get into the main box to unlock it yourself. And if they try to unlock it, they can't because you have the next one locked.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's actually that's a better idea than what I had.
I think that's what I'd go with. I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, because that way you both have to be in agreement to open it.
Yeah.
I like that. But then you run the risk of like if I got diagnosed with like ALS, that's pretty much a death sentence. So never mind. That's a bad example. But like if you get like testicular cancer, like you could die from testicular cancer, but you might not.
Yeah.
So if I'm like, Mom, I want to open the box, see if I'm gonna die, my mom's like, no, because she's like, I don't want to have that like if you do die, I don't want to have like a countdown of like I know you're gonna die in 10 days.
Yeah.
So, because I know my mom well enough to know that if that was the case, specific example, my mom would probably be like, "I'm not opening that box."
I think that's probably the risk you'd have to take, though, because no matter
Yeah.
what you do with the book, there's issues. Like,
Oh
it's a
yeah.
problem no matter what. But I
Hmm.
think that road is the lead. Like, that's really the one scenario that it could be a problem for you.
Right.
I feel like the other options, there's bigger issues.
Yeah. I think there's not a right answer to this question, but I think that's the most responsible answer if you wanted to keep it. If we're really talking about it, the most responsible answer is to probably destroy the book when you get it, if like you don't want to read it, or to just read it. But I think if you wanted to keep it in case of emergencies like that, then I think the best option was to find somebody you trust, like your mom or brother or best friend, and you lock it yourself, and then they lock it, so that way there you can't open it.
Yeah,
I think that's the best method.
I think so too. I like that answer.
I think that was a good discussion. We got to get to that answer. I think that was a good discussion.
I like how pretty much the entire rest of the podcast was either dangerously close to being incredibly offensive or absolutely chaotic. And then we got to the end and we're like, you know what? We're going to get real philosophical now.
Yeah, and then we had like amazing like philosophical discussion where we actually produced like evidence for our viewpoints. And then they like if someone skips ahead, they're like skip to the half hour mark, and it's like all they hear is like fucking monkeys or like fucking fuck Mexicans. And then they get to the end and it's just like it's like, you know that meme where it's like people screaming at each other and it's like a bunch of people are on a table like a council? That's
Yeah.
literally just this podcast. Like the first half was just people screaming and arguing. And the
Yeah.
end of it was just guys around a table like a council, just like meeting at a very professional courtesy.
Yeah. Which I think is great.
I mean, that's the whole dynamic here. I think is it's not like we don't just do one or the other. We do both,
Exactly.
and that's the fun.
Yeah. And you never know where it's going to lead, which
I
is also
mean,
fun.
except the only thing we know for sure where it's going to lead is that Richard Nixon was innocent.
Yes, exactly.
I mean that's not changing.
No. Well,
And
it's
if
set in stone.
you're a
It's just,
keyboard warrior typing up like Richard Nixon was guilty, fuck you. Okay,
yeah.
propaganda. That's all I have to say.
I say again, go to our Instagram, support the Richard Nixon Foundation.
Go to our
Great.
Instagram, go to our YouTube page, Facebook page, follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, or Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever.
We got it all, dude.
We got it all. And we talk about quite a bit. There's a lot of subject matter, I think.
Yeah. No, it
All good.
got a little rocky there for a second, but
What do you mean? What do you mean?
you made it back in. I hope either that or people are gonna get to a certain point where they're just like, all right, I can't do this anymore.
We're gonna get a lot of angry fucking texts next week. They're like, guys.
Yeah, dude. Like, we didn't want to say anything when you started, but we knew this was a bad idea.
You guys changed, man. You guys used to be cool. Now you're just
we
you.
we go to around the farm next week, and we're like, "How was your week?" I got fired. What about you? I also got fired.
I got fired. I got 6 death threats, and I got beat up on the street. What about you?